Handmaid's Tale season 6 episode 7 just aired. This was my favorite episode so far of the season. I'm super excited to talk about it. There are major spoilers ahead, so if you have not seen this episode, please feel free to come back later. So the episode starts off where we left off. June and Nick are in the pantry. June has just learned that Nick has betrayed her, Mayday, and all the handmaids, all the women at Jezebel's. It's just so heartbreaking. We see what's happening at Jezebel's. We see the women getting kind of rounded up in the shower. Janine is begging with the guards to not hurt them, but they're like, that one. They save Janine and they eliminate the rest of the women at Jezebel's, and it's awful. It's a terrible scene. My heart breaks for Janine. She had to witness all that and just the guilt of being the only one that survived. Poor thing. And she's going to an even worse place because Commander Bell, that sleazeball, has chosen her to be his new handmaid. June tells Nick, take me back. I want to go back. And so he's driving her back to Mayday. Stops short and she's like, I'm walking the rest of the way. And Nick is like, wait, get back in the car, come back. And she's like, no, I trusted you. I thought I could trust you. Tells him that he's just like all the rest. And he goes, well, you loved me, so what does that make you? In this moment, June feels an immense amount of guilt because she basically trusted Nick. She told Nick all this information, and that ended up in a bunch of women being, deceased. Nick is feeling guilty, I think, and he's realizing, like, maybe I am just like the rest. Maybe I am a bad person. I think, like, this whole season, he's kind of been going down this road of wondering what kind of man he truly is. So June is basically writing him off completely and viewing him in this manner just like other commanders. And that's starting to get to Nick, and I think he's truly like looking inward, and that self-hatred is starting to run deep. We see Aunt Lydia go to Jezebel's and see what has happened. She sees the devastation. She sees the drawing that Janine's daughter did, and she's holding it up against her chest because in this moment she thinks Janine is also dead. She thinks Janine is no longer with us. I think she's feeling just that immense amount of sorrow because she loves Janine. That is like her girl. Poor Jane, she goes into Mayday. She's feeling so much guilt and shame for trusting Nick, for having to go to Luke and be like, yep, this is how it happened. I told Nick. And of course, Luke is upset. Luke basically accuses June of viewing Nick as like the savior that she's been pining for ever since she left. There's a lot of complicated emotions here, and June is just feeling terrible. And it doesn't help that the other people at Mayday are also treating her basically like they should. Like, you just ruined our entire plans and you got a bunch of people killed. And it's not necessarily June's fault, but it was a consequence of her trusting someone. This conversation between Rita and Nick kind of broke my heart. Rita approaches Nick. Nick is obviously very upset. He's distressed. He has basically lost all faith in himself, like that he could be a good person. I think he's looking at all of his actions like, yeah, I probably did that just for self-preservation. I'm a bad person. Rita approaches him and Rita's like, we're friends. And Nick is like, no, we aren't. I didn't trust you, you didn't trust me, we did what we could to survive. And if need be, we probably would have turned on each other. And Rita's like, no, like, I mean, maybe at the beginning, but then I got to know you. And then Nick goes, well, you just want something from me, you just want your family back, and that's why you're saying this. Poor Rita, this hurts her feelings, obviously, because I think she did truly view Nick as a friend. They went through something terrible together in the same house, and now he's treating her unkindly. This conversation was not fun. We then see Serena. She's meeting with the wives of Gilead, and they're having tea. And she's talking about New Bethlehem, but then all the wives are basically like saying, well, my husband doesn't like it. My husband thinks New Bethlehem is blah. And so she's realizing, like, these women do not see, like, the future that she sees with New Bethlehem. She's trying to, like, kind of get them to turn around. She's like, well, what do you think? Not what your husbands think. What do you think? She mentions the handmaids. She mentions the birthing center. She soon learns that each and every one of these wives hates the handmaids. They're like, we don't want to see them. We don't want to ever see them again. Thanks for the kids. Now get out of here. I think Serena's having a bit of an internal battle because on one hand, I think she wants to be a better person. She wants to come off like she's growing and learning and like New Bethlehem is a new start for her. But at the same time, I think talking to these women, she's realizing her status is low. All these women disagree with her. I think like her new way of thinking might be reverted back to the old way of thinking to regain some of the status in the group. She meets with Commander Warden and just kind of like lets him know like how she's feeling, and he's like, well, they're going to respect you when you're the wife of a commander. And then they start discussing like how great it would be to have this giant wedding to command respect, and how he wants to invite the handmaids as well as like a show of unity. And so you can kind of see the wheels are turning in Serena's head. Like, she wants to play in this big event. She'll be the center of attention like she likes, and she's gonna get all this respect from all these people that were mocking her. Deep down, Serena just really cares about status and how people view her. I think she wants to be a good person, but I don't know if we're gonna get that. I don't know, and I honestly don't care. Is that terrible? Probably. And we randomly get Darcy Carden in here. I love her so much from The Good Place. Her name is Aunt Phoebe, and she basically gives Lydia the news that Janine is not dead, but Commander Bell has taken her to be his own handmaid. Lydia is relieved. Aunt Phoebe lets Lydia know, like, hey, the wedding. They want Janine at the wedding. And so Lydia's just been given this great news, and she's very happy. And at this point, we're not really sure who Aunt Phoebe is. Is she nice? Is she mean? I don't know. I just love Darcy Carden, so it was nice to see her. We get this conversation between June and Moira, just talking about Nick. And Moira is like, you know what? I would also trust Nick. If I had a commander telling me like he was going to help me and save me, I would have fallen in love with the commander too. I think she's just trying to get June to realize like, you're not a bad guy. You made a mistake. You trusted the wrong person, but it's understandable why. And then they had this kind of cute conversation about like, talking about the hotness of Nick. And she's like, Angelina Jolie, and June is like, no, he's not Angelina Jolie hot. And they like go back and forth on different hot people. And then she's like, Rihanna. And then June is like, no one's hotter than Rihanna. So I thought this was like a really nice little conversation between besties. June goes out and talks to Luke, and she kind of gives them an out. She's like, you know what? You don't have to stay with me. I just want you to be happy. I want you to be with someone that you deserve. I don't want you to stick around because you feel sorry for me. There's all this trauma between us. Like, you can leave if you want to leave. What do you want? Luke basically tells her, you know what? I should want to go, but I can't. And then June's like, I can't either. He makes a comment like, I miss her so much. June basically asks, is Hannah the only reason we are still together? And Luke goes, she's not the only reason. Their relationship is just so complicated, and I know that they love each other, and things are just hard. So I think this was a nice moment, but it made me kind of sad. We see Lydia go to Commander Bell's house to deliver some clothes for Janine, and she has this conversation with him. And he's basically like, she's not coming to that wedding, can't be seen in public right now. And Lydia is like, what? She wants to see Janine. Commander Bell won't let her see her. He shuts the door in her face, and Lydia starts walking around the front of the house, and she looks in the window. She sees a beaten Janine in the window, waving at her. And Lydia's realizing, like, Janine is in a terrible situation. Commander Bell is abusing her. And Lydia is horrified, and so are we, because poor Janine, can she not catch a break? We see June packing a bag, and all of a sudden, someone pulls up in the driveway of Mayday. It's Commander Lawrence. Lawrence has come to talk to June about the wedding. He basically lets her know, hey, I need your help. This is what's going on. Big event at the wedding. June is kind of letting him know, like, hey, I think it would be better for everyone if I just left right now. Clearly, I've done enough damage, and I think she needed this conversation with Commander Lawrence, because Lawrence at first is like, yeah, I don't know why you ever trusted Nick. I only gave him some information, not all of it, because he's a commander. And June was like, yeah, well, I think I'm just going to head out. And Commander Lawrence basically goes, well, Serena never quit. Do you see Serena now? She's clawed her way back to the top. And this is what's going to happen. A giant wedding and, perfect opportunity. Maybe the Serena never quit comment actually fueled her. But I think the idea of the giant wedding started like getting the wheels turning in her brain. June and Commander Lawrence start talking to everyone at Mayday. They're saying this is the perfect plan. All these big people will be at the wedding, all the commanders, all these high up officials. Serena is so narcissistic that, she'll want everyone there, all eyes on her. She'll probably get some of the guards to come to like cover her wedding to make it like extra secure. So like the borders will be open. There's one line that I really loved. June says, Serena's narcissism brought down one nation. It will certainly do it again. And so I love that. Commander Lawrence did let June know Janine is alive. So June knows, like, we gotta save Janine. So when they're talking about the wedding plan, Moira is like, I'm coming with you, let's go. They're talking about the handmaids, how they can go in, smuggle in some weapons for the handmaids, because they want handmaids at this wedding to show, like, this sense of unity. And so, like, they have a plan. June and Moira are gonna go inside with the weapons, smuggle them in. People at Mayday basically tell June and Moira, hey, like, until the plan is done, we can't extract you. And June and Moira are kind of like, you know what? That's okay. And I think they're entering this plan realizing we might not make it out. But this is such a good plan. This is such a big event that things could actually work out. They talk about how there are still bombs left from the previous plan in the city. People are going to be working around the clock. They said they're going to get all their friends together, anyone in the rebellion, to work together to pull this off. We later see Rita. Rita's getting involved. She realizes that she has to get involved. She can't just sit on the sidelines and wait anymore. She's going to get involved. But yeah, Serena has no idea what's coming. So Commander Lawrence basically smuggles June and Moira into Gilead and drives to go talk to Aunt Lydia, trying to get Aunt Lydia out of the way to go to DC. And we see Darcy Carden's character again, Aunt Phoebe, go up to his car. At first you're like, oh no, what's she gonna do? Because she distracts one of the guards. She's like, hey, I think there's like a hole in the fence. Can you go check that out? And she goes up to the trunk and she says, blessed be the fruit, let the revolution begin. I was so relieved because I thought my girl Darcy was gonna rat them out, but she's part of the revolution, so yay. So she basically gets them into a safe room, leaves them there, goes back up the stairs, and she runs into Aunt Lydia, and Aunt Lydia looks a little suspicious of what's going on, but Darcy's character kind of plays it off. But you can kind of tell, like, Aunt Lydia is thinking about going into that room that she just left them in, so I don't know if we're going to see that next episode. I don't know if Lydia's going to get wise to what's going on. Probably, just knowing her. Moira tells June, like, say something leaderish. Like she needs a pep talk. And June just starts reciting the Lord's Prayer, because I think these two ladies know they might not make it out. She basically recites the Lord's Prayer and ends it with, Lord, please help us kill all these mother effers. And Moira is like, amen. That's how the episode ends. They're playing Barracuda at the end. I love it so much. This was such a good episode, and it's making me so excited for the next one. I can't wait to see how they end this series. I really have faith that June is going to survive this, but I'm just really excited to see how this plan unfolds. What did y'all think about this episode? I loved it.